What's up, guys, and welcome to Sunday Night Football Game Script. We're going to be looking at the Dallas Cowboys versus the Green Bay Packers and what could potentially be a very straightforward lineup build, and I'm going to get into it right after this. What's up, guys? Simon Edwards at PumaCom here with Heat Seeker Sports, and you're watching Game Script, taking a look at the Sunday Night Football game between the Dallas Cowboys and the Green Bay Packers. We got a 47.5-point total. They're playing in Dallas, and we got Green Bay as 6.5-point favorites in this one. Going to be a fun game. We got Micah Parsons returning to Dallas, and all sorts of fireworks should be happening from that. And before I get into the analysis, you're going to want to hit that like button. Hit that like button, get me to 50 likes so I put my favorite picks in the comment section as we get closer to lock. Make sure to subscribe to the channel. I am almost to 2,000 subscribers. I need about under 90 left to get there, so help me get to that 2,000 mark. I want to try to get there before the end of Monday Night Football, let's say. So I definitely appreciate your guys' help with getting there. You're going to want to subscribe anyways to get access to the secret weapon coming out. I'm going to be putting out a website where I'm going to be giving you guys access to a free beta preview for those who are signed up to the YouTube, subscribe to the YouTube channel. So make sure you do that. And let's take a look at this game here. Probably helped if I shared my screen. All right, there we go. All right, guys. So we have what should be a pretty fun game. Like I said, 47.5-point total. Less than a touchdown between them, but I think that this game could go off the rails a bit. They lost CeeDee Lamb. Dallas lost CeeDee Lamb last week. So there's all sorts of injuries that they're going to be working through. In addition to that, let's take a look at Dallas. We're looking at Tyler Booker and several others of their offensive line are out. Cooper Beebe, Rob Jones, those guys are all out. On top of that, we got CeeDee Lamb out for a couple weeks. Just all sorts of injuries to this offense. And that's not what you want to see when you're facing a team that has Micah Parsons on it, and Micah Parsons in the ultimate revenge game against Dallas. They didn't want to pay him. Jerry Jones pays just about everybody at the last minute and try to do some sort of a handshake deal with Micah Parsons, and just went behind the agent's back. So the agent demanded a bunch of probably more money than they would have otherwise. And one thing led to another, and now we're looking at the trade of Micah Parsons to the Green Bay Packers. The Green Bay defense has been really good since that happened. And, now he gets to come back to Dallas and face off against his old team. Let's take a look at Green Bay's injury situation. We're looking at left guard. Aaron Banks is doubtful. Zach Tom also out. So some damage to the offensive line. Got a lot of damage to the offensive line in Green Bay. One thing with Green Bay's matchup is Dallas has not got a lot of pressure on opposing quarterbacks, and that sets up Jordan Love to have a nice game in this one. Jaden Reed is also out for the Packers. That's going to, I guess, continue to elevate Dontavian Wicks, who's been the guy getting the most action since Jaden Reed went out. Also missing Christian Watson, obviously. And, this could be a kind of a coming out game for Matthew Golden. It's the matchup sets up perfectly for that. Also sets up perfectly for Romeo Doubs. So, we could be looking at some easy captain choices in this one. So let's go back to the analysis here. We'll take a look at Josh Jacobs first. Jacobs has not got it going so far this season. He looking at 12 points and 14 DraftKings points. Just not what we're used to seeing with Jacobs. In this game, they should be playing with a significant lead, though. So that will set it up for an opportunity, at least for Jacobs to have a decent game in this one. We'll see what happens there. But with the Cowboys, they're only allowing 19.9 DraftKings points a game to the running back position. So it's not the best matchup for Jacobs, but the game script should favor Jacobs in this one. Okay, moving on to Jordan Love. Jordan Love is in a great matchup in this one. He is facing off against a Dallas defense that is among the worst, bottom 5, I believe, in pressure rate. And when Jordan Love has been kept clean, his numbers go up significantly. He's according to, let's see, I got a stat here. According to Rich Rebar, when the Cowboys have not gotten pressure on opposing quarterbacks, they've allowed a 158.3 rating. That's a perfect rating. So that is setting up nicely for Jordan Love. And, just in general, like any quarterback's going to be playing better when there's no pressure, but Jordan Love is significantly better with no pressure, and he should be relatively clean tonight, other than what we might have to worry about with that offensive line with all those injuries. So George Pickens has seen his targets increase significantly when CeeDee Lamb went out last week, and Pickens could be a guy that they're launching to all night. But, don't be surprised. He's had 2 weeks in a row with 17.8 DraftKings points. But if they're putting a lot of the attention on George Pickens and Dak is under a lot of pressure, they might not even have time to connect in this one. But Pickens will definitely be in play, so we can keep him in our player pool. I'm just not going to be super high on him tonight. Dak Prescott is going to be under pressure a lot. He has not done too well, not exactly what was expected out of him. He has had 1 week with 26 DraftKings points. That was a pretty good week. The other weeks have not been great, and now he loses CeeDee Lamb, and he has missing pieces of his offensive line. So, Dak is going to be in rough shape against a tough defense tonight. We'll see what he's able to accomplish there. And keep in mind, this is a rematch of the playoff game where the Packers surprised Dallas and eliminated them in the first round of the playoffs a couple years ago. But, that was against a healthy Dallas team, and they smoked them. So who knows what's going to happen in this one. Javonte Williams, another guy that should get hurt by not only the game script, but the offensive line. When they were losing significantly against Chicago last week, they were getting blown out by Chicago. The tide turned to the point where they weren't using Javonte Williams anymore. They turned to Miles Sanders. So, Javonte could get game scripted out after the first half on this one, depending on how it goes. I think the most popular game scripts are going to be with some sort of a Green Bay blowout. So, we're going to want to try to do at least one lineup a little bit different from that, where Dallas maybe keeps it close or competitive or even wins this one, just to get a little bit different and give ourselves a chance to compete with 20% of the field as opposed to 80% of the field. Tucker Kraft is in a good matchup in this one as well. Let's see. Dallas has been allowing 10.7 DraftKings points a game to the tight end position, but they've also been running a heavy zone defense, and that's going to benefit Kraft. He does well against zone defense. According to Rich Rebar again. The Cowboys have allowed an 82.4% catch rate to tight ends, and they haven't even faced a tight end of Tucker Kraft's caliber. Check out Sharp Football Analysis. They usually do that Rich Rebar write up his worksheet for free on these island games, so you're going to want to check that out to get a full write-up of this game. But Rich Rebar does a good job with getting those write-ups on a lot of these matchups, so I recommend that. We're taking a look at our next guy, Jake Ferguson. He is going to be in a good situation too. He's the most targeted guy when Dak is under pressure, so we can expect a lot of targets coming Jake Ferguson's way tonight. Like, he got 14 targets and 12 targets in his last 2 games. And with CeeDee Lamb out of there, we can expect him maybe to take up a majority of that short yardage work and those short yardage targets. Matthew Golden, Dallas's defense is terrible against wideouts. They are allowing 34.9 DraftKings points a game. The 2 wideouts that we want to keep in mind in this game are going to be Matthew Golden and Romeo Doubs. Matthew Golden has the best of the DVOA matchups, with the corner that he's facing off of giving up a bottom 10%, or I mean a bottom 10. He's a bottom 10 defender, basically. So Matthew Golden lining up in the majority and the left side of the field, facing off against, majority of the right side of the field, I believe. Let's see, it's a little bit confusing there. Yeah, I mean, well, he'll be lining up against the weak spot of the defense for the most of it, and the type of targets that he gets are also going to be the type of targets that Dallas has struggled against. So Matthew Golden, we could see him have this breakout week this week. He's a guy that we're going to want to keep in mind for our lineups. In addition to that, Romeo Doubs, talked about already as well. He runs a decent amount from the weak side of the field too. So don't write off Romeo Doubs either. Looking at 4 targets, 5 targets, and 2 targets. And I would imagine that he's going to get his opportunities in this one. Problem with both of these wideouts is going to be, how long are they going to be competitive for? Aubrey is a stud. If they're able to move the ball at all and they're going to try to squeeze out some points, I wouldn't be surprised to see Aubrey get a couple field goals in this one, maybe before they start to get to the point where they have no choice but to go for touchdowns. But Aubrey, if they're able to move the ball early, they're going to want to get points any way they can. So I wouldn't be surprised to see if Aubrey scores a couple field goals in this one. Packers D, Micah Parsons on the team now, faces off against his old team. This is going to be a popular play tonight, and they're going to be expensive too. Green Bay's defense is at 5,400. So, I mean, it's not that much of a markup compared to what I see some of these popular defenses at. But I think that they're going to be popular, probably be popular in the captain as well in this game. Brandon McManus, looks like I got 2 Green Bay kickers. So let's see what the news is on McManus. He's missed 2 early kicks. It says his job should be safe heading into week 4. So, seems like maybe they called up a kicker to the practice squad or something like that. I'm not sure what the news is on Mark McNamee, but make sure to check out the inactives before game time, just in case this guy's going to be subbing in for McManus. But I haven't seen any news to that extent. So Kevontae Turpin is another guy who's been getting a significant workload since CeeDee Lamb went out. He went out early in that game, and let's check out our snap counts over here and see what we see with the this Dallas snap count from last week. Turpin had 66%. Pickens had 82. Tolbert had 88. So Pickens, Turpin and Tolbert were the guys who benefited the most from that injury. It looks like Flournoy got some work too, but Pickens and Turpin and Tolbert are the guys that are going to be interested in here. Kavonte Turpin, another guy that runs those short routes. He's kind of a gadget player. So he is a guy that I'm going to be interested in this week for some salary relief at that 4,400 mark. Wicks is right underneath him, and he's another guy, 6 targets and 4 targets in the last 2 weeks. Without Jaden Reed in there, Wicks should be getting some extra work as well, but we haven't seen him when that's been expected the last couple weeks. Haven't really seen him do too much, but it could be coming any week for Dontavian Wicks, so I wouldn't rule him out either. Tolbert, I talked about. He had 6 targets last week, 3 receptions. Tolbert was a guy that was getting talked up in best ball a couple years ago, and he never really delivered, and he's just kind of been lingering on that roster ever since. I'm more interested in Turpin. I think Turpin's the more exciting receiver in the offense, but Tolbert, you don't want to leave him out of your player pool. Then we got the Cowboys D. Not too interested in them. We got Miles Sanders. Our game script could put Miles Sanders as a person of interest for us. If they take a significant lead, if Green Bay takes a significant lead, we can expect to see a decent amount of Miles Sanders. Let's see how many targets he got last week. 3 targets, 2 targets the week before that. So he gets some work in the passing game. Let's check out Javonte too while we're at it. All right, Javonte got 5 targets, 7 targets, and 3 targets. So he gets a decent amount of targets too. So keep that in mind with Javonte. Brooks, I'm not really interested in. Well, actually, Brooks, if they're in a blowout, they might use him a little bit. But it looks like he's mainly in the passing game. Let's take a look and see what that makeup was for snap counts for running backs last week. All right, Dallas, we're looking at, or Green Bay, we're looking at, what are we looking at here? 12% for Brooks, 66% for Jacobs, and 23% for Tolbert, or for Wilson. So I think Wilson was probably the guy that came in when they took that big lead. Wilson had 6 attempts for 25 yards. So if you think they're taking a big enough lead, then Wilson could be interesting this week. And then we had Flournoy, the guy, the other guy on Dallas that benefited from CeeDee Lamb. We got Musgrave. Don't be surprised if we see something out of Musgrave. He's got that same matchup against that Dallas defense that struggles against the tight end. And we also got Fitzpatrick too. One thing I saw too with Turpin, according to PFF, he's earning 0.58 fantasy points per route run. And that is the highest on all of Dallas. It's even higher than CeeDee Lamb. And that's running 42 routes. So he's only run 12 routes less than CeeDee Lamb, and he has a better fantasy points per routes run. So you want to keep that in mind with Turpin. Now that I remember that stat there. Other than that, scrolling down, I don't see a whole lot that I like. So let's go ahead and build this lineup. If you guys see any cheap guys in those dumpster dive Write it in the comments, guys, that you think if Green Bay ends up with a blowout win, guys that might get work and I might be overlooking down there. So let's start this first one with Josh Jacobs in the captain. I think that's going to be a popular one. We'll go with the Packers D as well. Probably want to have Jordan Love in this one. And looking between Golden and Dubs, let's go with Golden in this one. Leaves us with 5,700. If we're looking towards Dallas, let's get Ferguson in there. And that leaves us with 3K. That would give an opportunity to... We're about 1,400 off of Turpin. So if I wanted to swap out Golden for Dubs, it's 3,600. So we're still about 800 away from Turpin if we did that. If I had to go this direction, maybe Miles Sanders would be a guy, or Wilson. If I wanted to use this type of build. Dak Prescott, we could swap out Jordan Love for Prescott. That only gets us to 4,200, so it's still short of Turpin in that build too. So let's clear that out. Let's say Ferguson's just racking up these PPR points. Let's get Ferguson in the captain. Let's put Jacobs, Love, and let's get Golden in this one. Let's get that defense in there. Packers D leaves us with 4,200. Again, we're just short of Turpin. Getting Turpin in this one. Let's go from Golden to Dubs. We do that, then we can get Turpin in there. So that's a Jake Ferguson captain build. This one we have... we could swap this out since we got... Let's get Dak in this one instead, since we got Ferguson in the captain. This way we can use Golden. And then we can use Turpin in this build. So we could do this build and give Dak 2 pass catchers. And then on the other side, we got Golden and Jacobs and the Packers D. So we get all the best of all worlds with this type of build. But we got Dak throwing to Ferguson, a lot of PPR points there. Dak's under pressure. He's getting sacked a lot by the Packers. Maybe intercepted, forces him to be a little bit more aggressive. We got Turpin in there too for Dak to throw to. And then Jacobs is, getting a lot of work, but he's struggling a little bit against Dallas, but he's getting enough work to end up in the optimal over a guy like Jordan Love. And I think this one pretty much just writes itself. Let's get rid of Ferguson. Let's put Golden in the captain. You can take these core players and mix and match a little bit between Golden, Dubs, and Ferguson. Let's put Golden in that captain, and we'll put Ferguson. It leaves us with 5,500 again. This one we have McManus as an option or Turpin. Go either way there. If we wanted to swap Love back in, since we got Golden as that captain, that still enables us to get Turpin in there, and we could swap it out to Dubs as well and still get Turpin in there. So a lot of different ways that we can go there with these cheaper captain options. This is the type of game, we want to try a couple different builds. Let's try a Dallas, shocks the world type of build. Let's go with Pickens. Let's face off against 20% of the field here. Let's get Prescott in there. Let's get Love in there because they're going to be, if they're in that situation, they're going to be a little bit of a back and forth here. Let's put Turpin in this one too. Give Dak another guy to throw to, and let's get Ferguson in here too. You know what? Let's take out Turpin. Let's put in Dubs. Leaves us with 1,100. Let's take out Love and put in Jacobs instead. And Jacobs is actually more expensive than Love, so let's get Love back in there. If we wanted to get away from Love, that's going to be a tough. Let's just figure out what we can do with this build. Not a whole lot of options with a build like this. And that one's going to be tough to do. Let's see. Let's get rid of Dubs and let's put in Wicks instead. Maybe Wicks is the guy. That leaves us with 3,500. That at least leaves us with the Cowboys D. I think the Cowboys D is going to need to do something in order for Dallas to be playing with some sort of a lead in this one. We could take out, or we could take out Love. We could put in Javonte. Like this is something that we saw the other week against the Eagles, where they just came out aggressive, and Javonte scored those two quick touchdowns. That leaves us with 4,500. We could get Turpin in this one, but that's like a 5-1 build with like five Cowboys. 4 Cowboys weapons. We could put like the Cowboys defense in this. That would make a little bit more sense, but it's still a 5-1 build, which I don't want to do. Let's get Dubs back in there. 2,100. Yeah, we could put Musgrave in this one. Or Fitzpatrick. Fitzpatrick scored a touchdown the other week. So we have him as an option. Let's get Pickens out of there. He's too expensive. We can try it with let's try it with Williams and the captain. Let's get Pickens in there too. That leaves us 2,500. Same situation. We got Wilson as an option, at least in that situation. Let's go back to Ferguson and play with more of a Dallas lead. All right, we got Prescott to Ferguson and Pickens. We got Dubs on the other side. Let's say the Packers D. I still like the Packers D in this situation. Let's get Aubrey in there. That leaves us with 6,200. For a game like this, we could potentially go double kicker if we wanted to build like this. Maybe keep it a closer game with Ferguson. I think Ferguson would need to be captain in a closer game where they're able to rack up that PPR. And in that situation, I do think that double kicker would make sense. We could put Wicks in this one too. Maybe he's working out more as a slot. Let's see what. Yeah, that one's tough to. Let's see. Let's see what Wicks is doing it for slot routes. All right, Wix's slot usage. All right, so Wix is 66% slot rate. So that puts him in the slot in this one. And Dallas is giving up only 12 DraftKings points a game to the slot, but at least with Wix in the slot, that gives us one slot guy and one out wide guy to run from Green Bay in this situation. So if we go Wix here and let's take out Aubrey. Let's see what that gets us. That gets us to Golden, but I don't want to run Golden with Dubs. So I want to keep Golden and Dubs separate if I can. Let's put Turpin in this one and see what that puts us. Yeah, it just puts us at Matthew Golden. So I'd probably just stick with Aubrey. Let's get Golden in this one instead of Dubs. And then we can get Packers D if we wanted to still. We could get McManus or we could get Turpin or Wicks. So we still have options there. But you guys can play around with a little bit more and make sure to hit that like button. Give me to 50 likes. And when I have a little bit more opportunity to think this one through, then I can put my picks in the comment section. And make sure to subscribe to the channel. Help me get to 2,000 subscribers. I need about 90 to get there. So I want to try to get there before the end of Monday. So definitely hit that subscribe and then get your access to the free beta when it comes out in a couple weeks. Oh, and running an underdog promo. Use the promo code SEEK, SEEK. When you play your first $5, they're going to give you a $100 bonus. So keep that in mind, and I will see you guys later.